Hey babes, Jessica Rose here. Today for Alopecia Awareness Month, I want to talk to you about my experience with dating because going through life with hair loss, trying to find love is extremely daunting. It's really hard, and it's the biggest topic on all of the alopecia blogs. Who's ever gonna love me? Who's gonna find me attractive? I'm not as feminine as I used to be. I totally get all of it. I felt it all. So I just wanted to talk about my experience, and maybe that'll help you in your journey because we can all relate to each other. So I have been in 3 relationships. I'm on my 4th currently. My first 2 relationships were pre-wig. They were actually pre-alopecia diagnosis. So I had thin hair. I was in high school, probably 17 to 21 for the first relationship. And, I just knew I had thin hair, and eventually my hormones would even out and it would grow back. That was all I knew. So I couldn't really hide it, but obviously it didn't stop me from falling in love and yada yada. So even though I had a boyfriend, I was still super insecure, and I didn't even know that my insecurity stemmed from my hair loss, which is so funny because it was so obvious. It was literally staring at me in the mirror, and I just didn't know that's why I was so insecure. And my second relationship was also pre-alopecia diagnosis, and that one was about 21 to 23. And again, I was super insecure, still didn't know why. It wasn't the right person for me. Obviously, none of them are. If you're breaking up, they weren't your person. But I just never felt content. Like, I never understood why these guys loved me because I didn't love myself, obviously. So then, cut to post-diagnosis. I hated dating the most, but I loved drinking alcohol because drinking alcohol really kind of numbed the shock of having to date with alopecia. It made it more normal. Like, I kind of forgot about it almost. So when I was wearing wigs and extensions or whatever I was doing, drinking kind of gave me that cape that made me feel invincible. So especially when I was gluing my wigs, like, I knew they weren't going to come off. I knew I was safe. But it was always that weird dance of, like, when do I tell the guy that I'm dating that I wear wigs, that my hair's like kind of falling out and I'm a little bald. It's not a sexy conversation, that's for sure. So I didn't really want to have it, so I just hid it. And I never dated guys for that long. Like, I wouldn't open up, I wouldn't be myself. So once the buzz wore off, or we weren't partying, we didn't really connect. So I was having a lot of trouble connecting in my 20s post alopecia diagnosis. I just wasn't comfortable with myself unless I was drinking, and we weren't really getting to know each other at that point. I believe that it was towards my late 20s where I started to be like, okay, I need to start telling people because I'm avoiding it, and it's making me kind of like not forget that I have alopecia, but it's like I'm ignoring this huge white elephant in the room, right? I'm just like not addressing it. So I knew that I had to start telling people. Practice makes perfect. So the more comfortable I am talking about it, the more comfortable I'll be with having it, was kind of my thought. So I tried on a couple guys, but the thing that I did wrong was my approach to it. Like, hey, I need to tell you something. This is so hard for me. I need to tell you this. And like, I've never told anyone this before. And, I just made it so fucking serious. Like, it's not that serious. Like, yes, it's serious to us because like we have to live with it every day. But like when you're acting like you're dying, like that shouldn't be your delivery. Like, I was just making it so fucking dramatic. And that's the one thing I learned that I want to share with you. Do not make this dramatic. To each their own, but from what I've found is the way you present the information is how they're going to receive it. So when I was dramatic about it, like, I have something big to tell you, this is so hard for me, like, It's really embarrassing. Like, I don't feel beautiful, but I just want you to know. They would take it like, oh my gosh, like, okay, wow, like, this is so heavy. Thank you for telling me. But like, wow, okay. So it was just kind of a weird, it was just weird. Like, I just made it more of a deal than it had to be. And yes, it is a big deal. Like, you're losing your hair. This is who you are. This is who you've been your whole life. It's a big deal. But even if I was to fake it and be like, oh yeah, I'm losing my hair, so what? I got great wigs. Cool. Their reaction is like, oh, dope, cool. Like, that's awesome that you have that attitude towards life. I love that confidence. Even though I'm fucking lying through my teeth and it's not that simple, the way I'm projecting it is how they're going to receive it. So I learned that the hard way. So cut to, I came out in 2017, you know, with my whole ordeal. You can read on my blog, coming out from under the wig. 3 days before that, an ex, the fact that I'm calling him an ex is really funny because he was my first boyfriend ever. We were in 6th grade. We held hands at a roller rink or whatever. So it wasn't an ex. It was 2 weeks of holding hands in middle school. Anyway, he had come back into my life. He was in town in LA. We caught up through Facebook, so he came in town. And I had told him, like, oh, well, you know, I just shaved my head. I have alopecia. I wear wigs, blah, blah, blah. The way I told him was like, this wasn't like a guy I thought I was going to date. I told him as a friend I was catching up with. So it was easier for me to just say it. Because once I decided that I was going to come out about my alopecia, I just said, oh, I'm never going to date again because no one's going to be attracted to me, right? Well, I know that's not the right way to think, but it's hard because you just assume that no one's going to accept you, or people are going to think that you're wrong, something's wrong. You know, they just want a girl that can grow hair, right? Like, who doesn't want a girl that can grow their own hair? This is the stupidest fucking way of thinking, but this is the way we think. It's true. So I told him thinking like, oh yeah, I don't care. This guy's not here to date me. Like, this is just an old friend. Cut to, we date for a year, long distance relationship. It was a very toxic relationship. And I thought that because I was coming out with my alopecia at the time, that I was ready for this, right? I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm coming out. The first guy I told that I wore a wig before we even dated. Like, the first guy I was upfront and honest with wants to date me, like be with me in a long distance relationship nonetheless. So this must be love. This is fate, right? And he was my high school or middle school boyfriend. So it was just like 20 years later, I finally come out about my alopecia and I find love. Like, the timing of it all, I convinced myself it was the most romantic love story. It was not. I was not ready. Even though I came out, it didn't mean I was secure in my own skin. It was a stepping stone, yes, and I'm so glad I did it when I did it, but I wasn't fucking ready. Like, you're never ready. So me thinking that this relationship would save me was so far from the truth. So cut to, it was a toxic relationship. We weren't good for each other. And I was not ready for anything serious, especially from someone that was battling his own demons. So after that relationship, I really decided I don't want to date like this anymore. I don't want to date being insecure. I don't want to date having to hide the fact that I wear a wig, so I'm constantly like moving someone's hand away from my hair. Like, I don't want to play that game anymore. It was just so exhausting. So I started going to therapy and life coaching, which I've talked about a lot, my self-affirmations, meditation, whatever. I committed to it we're going on a year now. And it's been the best year of my life because I feel like I'm really in touch with myself mentally, and I'm not always confident because that's the journey, but I'm more confident than I have been. So with that being said, while I was going through therapy and whatnot and working on myself, I started going on the apps on and off, nothing crazy. And I would post bald pictures of myself or pictures of different wigs because that was my way of saying, hey, I wear wigs. I have alopecia. Put it out there from the get-go. So if you're not swiping on me, like, cool, you're not down with that. But if you are, like, you know it, hopefully if you've read or paid attention to anything on my profile, you know what you're getting into and you're attracted to me, and that made me feel better. But then some days I changed my mind and I wouldn't put any bald pictures on my profile because I was like, well, no, they don't deserve to know. Mind you, I literally spend all my free time talking about alopecia and posting pictures and writing on my blog about it. So like, literally strangers know and like potential suitors aren't gonna know. Like my way of thinking was all jacked up. So once I kind of got my mind healthy and my mind right, I did start dating again. I was upfront about it within the first meeting. Hey, yeah, I wear wigs, but my delivery was so different. It was like, yeah, this is a wig. Isn't it great? It looks so good. I know, I love wigs. Even if I didn't have alopecia, I'd wear wigs because they're just amazing. So that was kind of my attitude. And that reaction that I got from that was like, oh, that's so cool. Like, that's such an awesome attitude. Like, that's really great that you are so open about it. Or some people would just be like, oh, I've never heard of alopecia. What is it? What's it called? Pecha? So it was a fun game of, like really getting to know people that way on how they reacted to the fact that I wore wigs. And I don't know, I felt really, I wouldn't want to say confident because confident is such a heavy word, but I just felt more secure in myself going out there dating. For once, I felt like, hey, I'm not going to die alone. There's still someone out there for me. I'm not an ugly beast. Like, I treat myself. Like, I know that I'm better than that. And I know that, there's more to love than what's on the surface. And it's really about connecting with people and getting to know people. So that's kind of how I approached dating this past year. And it's really worked because I have opened up to someone super special. And it's only been a few months, but like literally I wouldn't have met him had I not been going through therapy and working on getting myself healthy and my mind right. And I've literally never let anyone see me without my wig that I was dating, not even the relationship I had for a year with my middle school boyfriend. This is the first guy I've ever let see me without my hair. He's even taken off my wig, which is so sweet. And it's been a game changer. Mind you, I still get insecure. I will still have moments where I don't want to be on FaceTime because I just don't want to look at myself without a wig. It's still a constant struggle, but it's so much easier because I know that I was upfront about it. I did my self-work beforehand. And it's just like about two people getting to know each other. Aside from the alopecia, it's like, it's not a big white elephant in the room that's just like not being addressed. It's just more normalized now. And I'm more comfortable talking about it. Plus, like, it's just like all over my Instagram, all over my blog. So like, I'm not going to hide it anymore. It's just who I am. And if they don't want to get to know me, then fuck them. But I found someone that does want to get to know me and has stuck around. So there is hope. So my biggest takeaway from dating with alopecia is it's all in your delivery. Fuck anyone that doesn't accept you because you don't want them anyway. And don't feel like you have to tell anyone or take off your wig or show them your natural hair until you are ready. And if you're never ready, don't fucking do it, because I didn't for a year with a dude because he didn't deserve to like see me vulnerable. But you do you, and you'll know when it's right. You will feel it in your heart. Trust your gut. And that's love with hair loss. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you're enjoying 30 days of alopecia awareness videos. Gosh, we're on day 23, so I have 7 more to go. And yeah, you'll get to meet my boyfriend in one of them. So stay tuned. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye, guys.